right, good afternoon, everyone. Today's got an exciting podcast on what it is that we've been talking about for the past like 3-4 months on our podcast. We have been talking about AI, and a lot of you have imposter syndrome around how to sell this. How do you market this? How do you bring this to your customers? So Jennifer is a very busy individual I was able to track down and get on my podcast. It took me forever, but we got you. And so she's in very high demand, and she runs a great company. And I would like to tell us a little bit about what this means, who you are, and why it's important to how to sell AI. Jennifer Bleam, tell us about yourself.
I love it. Okay, thank you so much for having me on. So I'm Jennifer Bleam. I'm the founder and owner of MSP Sales Revolution. As we all know, 6-7 years ago, the revolution was cybersecurity. So I was helping MSPs with their cybersecurity stack, how to sell cybersecurity. I wrote a book that hit the bestseller list all about how to help MSPs sell cybersecurity. Well, today, the new revolution is AI. And we all know AI was around 20 years ago, but right now it is all the buzz. If you're an MSP and you're listening to this, probably your clients have asked about AI, or they're using it and not telling you, because AI is massive. It's everywhere. And it is the new opportunity for MSPs. So I'm helping MSPs figure out how to sell it, how to package it, how to price it, how to have discovery conversations, because selling AI is very, very different than selling your typical MSP, MSSP solution. So I feel like we could talk about this for hours, Adam, but I'll let you.
Yeah, we already were before it started. You're like, oh crap, we got to get going here on the podcast recording.
I love it.
Yeah, like here's the acceleration I've been talking about for probably the last month. We've done a lot of podcasts on this, and it was cute. AI was neat. Like, I use it every day. I use my Perplexity. I use my Claude. I've been testing out Comet, and that's nice. If that is your experience with AI, you are behind. So about 4 weeks ago, Skip was making fun of me. He's like, 21st birthday, as in 21 days into this new product we're designing. So Jen, that thing I showed you earlier, that's only 21 days old.
Wow.
That's how fast AI moves.
It is.
4 weeks ago, my understanding of AI has completely been upended. And now I have been leaning into a new strategy. Now that I understand what started as a test for me to learn, so you play around with a new tool to learn, has turned into a full-blown product development for you MSPs, for clients, and my understanding of what's going on in the industry. If you don't know what I'm hinting at here, Jen's going to talk a little bit more about it, but if you are not implementing AI as a solution in your stack right now, you are going to go absolutely crazy next year as all your competitors pass you in weeks, not months, not years. This is where weeks matter, months matter right now. And first to market matters right now. This isn't like hypervisor back around 2005 where you had 5 years to adopt this into your stack. No, this is by February. If you do not have a deliverable product, you are behind, and I fear for your ROI or your profitability by the end of 2026. It is moving that fast. So Jen, tell us a little bit more about your marketing and sales strategy and how this AI, how does an MSP even start with AI? What should they be doing?
Okay, so let me piggyback on what you just said. There is a very real first movers advantage.
Yes.
And most of us that have been in this industry for a while, we probably remember when like the guy we looked up to or the gal that we looked up to was all of a sudden on the stages at the MSP conferences talking about how they had closed these big deals or how they figured out their cybersecurity stack. And while they had done this early, most of the audience was sitting back kind of waiting to see, I don't know, the vendors are multiplying like rabbits. They could take 2 years to figure out cybersecurity. We even see today, sometimes there are threads where people are just learning about the cybersecurity opportunity and they're figuring out their cybersecurity stack. And those of us who have been doing this for 5 or 10 years are probably chuckling just a little bit. you don't have 5 years. AI is not, it's not even like a rolling train. It is like a rocket ship. And
Yeah.
good luck trying to catch up. It would be,
I'll
it's,
pause you just for a second, just to put the meat to that. What you just said is, if anybody out there is listening to Jen thinking, "Oh, we're overhyping it because we have a product to sell," no, go out to Google right now. I'm sorry, or Perplexity, or ChatGPT, or your favorite analytics engine, and look up the graph of adoption rate of AI versus web. How long it took for the web to be adopted by the average person, and how long it took AI to be adopted. And when you see those two spikes, the AI is measured in months,
yes.
whereas web is measured in decades.
Yeah,
So
I don't have
you are not
all,
prepared for the speed here. So Jen, go ahead. I just want to let people know. Do your
no,
own independent research. This is
yes.
happening in weeks and months.
And I don't have all the data in front of me because I'm still working on this presentation, but I was literally this morning doing some research into AI spend for 2026. And so what I was able to find was there's a lot of different numbers. So again, fact check, use Perplexity or whatever tool. But global AI spend projected to reach $900 billion by 2026. Let's cut that in half and say it's only going to be 500 billion. 500 billion. That's a pretty big number.
Small number.
Yeah, no big deal. I don't even know how many zeros. That's a whole lot of zeros. And most people would say that small businesses contribute like 50% to the GDP. So if we go 450, 500 billion dollars, that means 250 billion dollars is what your clients, MSPs, are going to be spending on AI in 2026.
Yep.
I would like you to capture some of that revenue. That is your money. Those are your clients. AI is squarely in the tech sector. So you have to be able to talk about AI effectively, intelligently. So figure it out, carve out some time, use some AI tools to scrape a bunch of YouTube videos and get a synopsis. Like however it is that you learn, spend the time. If you're thinking you're going to slow down during the holidays or over a vacation or something, figure out how you can use the slower hours to pump some AI data and what is AI doing and what are the opportunities, pump that into your brain. So yeah, huge opportunity. And you had a question, and I don't remember what your question was, but
How does a MSP bring this? Like you're an MSP, you've been playing. I'm going to go ahead and go out there and think most MSPs might be playing with Perplexity and Claude. That's where they are. They've heard of Claude Code. They may have heard of Lovable or Replit in passing. They really haven't dove into this. They know it's a kind of a big deal because everybody's talking about it. We know all the art people out there are really mad about AI and art right now. And like as an art student, I think it's hilarious watching them talk about this because
I have an art student as
on it.
well.
I was computer science. I went to school on art scholarship, so I was glad to find another one.
Yes.
I was pottery, just so you know. I was all about sculpture and design. I could not draw. I mean, the stick figures are my thing.
Yeah, my son is
Anyway,
he's doing film editing and audio editing, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of do that in one click, and I'm sure it's not as good as him, whatever. But yeah, it is a disruptor for sure.
But
Okay,
it'll take somebody like your son, and it'll turn him to 10, 20 people because he has expertise that can be multiplied by AI.
Yeah, it's a force
multiplier. That's
multiplier.
where small businesses are looking, like they're wondering, like, so you as an MSP, so I'll make my question clear here. We have MSPs whose experiences with Claude, ChatGPT 5, Perplexity, and that's their experience with AI, with a couple other things like maybe a little Lovable, a little Replit. Their clients are wondering, and they've been hearing this pressure, like you need to be using AI in your small business. You need to be using AI in your mid-sized business to drive productivity. But no one knows what that means.
Yes.
How does an MSP with the knowledge of Perplexity and Claude advance their knowledge enough that they can go to market with this and say, I have a solution, or I can consult with you guys on this topic? So walk this MSP who's got these problems they're facing through how to go to market.
Yep. Okay. So step one, I would spend an hour at most and go to YouTube and type in something like top AI use cases for small businesses.
Oh yeah.
Sort by date. So you've got the most recent on top because we don't want a use case from a year ago. That's almost antiquated now. So we have top AI use cases, and you're going to see a variety of people, a variety of approaches. Then what I would do is open Notebook LM. If you've never played with Notebook LM, it's a free Google tool, and you literally drop in up to 50 YouTube video links. I would just do 10, and then it literally parses them, and inside of 3 to 10 minutes, you will have a complete mind map. I'm very visual, so I like that. It essentially, I was going to say concatenates. It combines and sorts and filters all of them, and then you get a beautiful mind map that combines all of the data from all 10 of those, and 10 of those videos that you uploaded, or you can do 20 or 30, and now you have a mind map that shows you use cases. Do you need to know how to build those use cases? I would argue you do not, but you need to know kind of what AI can do. Now you're a little more educated than your client. And that's all you need to be. You only need to be a little bit more educated than your client. Because just like with cybersecurity, you didn't build the cybersecurity tool. You didn't build EDR, MDR, XDR. You knew enough to say it's a problem if X happens. Therefore, I have a solution, a tool in my toolbox that I'm going to sell. What we're doing with AI is a little bit different. You're still finding a business problem. You're saying, I think AI can solve this. Let me go back and talk to my engineering team, and I'll come back to you with some suggestions. So step one, research. Step two, start to have conversations with your clients. Just say, hey, I want to know what you're thinking with AI. What are you doing? What are your questions when it comes to AI? And I don't have anything to sell. This is a pure market research conversation. So most of us have gotten those requests on LinkedIn or in email or sometimes cold call. I'm building a SaaS. I just want to ask you 4 or 5 questions to help color the SaaS that I'm building. It's a pure swipe from that industry. It's kind of our industry. That's what you're saying to your clients. And what we're seeing is that MSPs are going into their clients and they are uncovering anywhere from 6 to 36, that's a real number, AI opportunities in the company. And it's not, even though we're going in and we're talking about AI, the solutions that we're finding out are things like, here's 2 software tools that we could connect with an API or Zapier or something. And I had no idea my clients were doing this manual process. So let me give you a for example. I wrote along with a client. We did a discovery for a large moving company. They, pack up the boxes, move you from point A to point B. They're big. They're a very big nationwide company, and they have their CRM that's a semi-custom. They get to pick the modules, but it's their CRM, but it doesn't have a texting capability. So they have a text software where they text their person, hey, I'll be there Tuesday, make sure everything's boxed up, we'll be wearing blue shirts, whatever their text message says. And this company was spending 12 hours per week, paying humans 12 hours a week of labor to copy from the CRM, paste into the text software, and press send. Copy, paste, send. Copy, paste, send. 12 hours per week. And we didn't even have to say, well, if you didn't have to pay that person 12 hours per week, what would they be repurposed to do? Not that that's a bad question. It's a great sales question. Listen, I love sales. Of course, that's a good sales question. But I was just taking a breath to ask that question. And the president that we were meeting with said, I actually need to hire 2 people in 2026 because we're growing, we're scaling, we want to put a few more text messages in, and I figured I would have to hire 2 full-time employees to do copy paste send, copy paste send. And I had my game face on, but I'm sitting there going, oh my word. And so the MSP said, well, what's your typical salary for each of those people? And he's like, oh, maybe 40K. So it's like, so we could Zapier or API or somehow connect these things and save this company $80,000 real dollars in 2026, and that was with one opportunity.
Yep.
So they're different conversations. That's what we're finding is that it used to be, what's that magical server in the closet used for? What happens if your email goes down? The normal conversations that we all had for decades. Now what we're talking about is workflow optimizations, consulting. Where have you always wanted to expand geographically, but you didn't because you didn't have anyone on your team that could speak Swahili? Well, guess what? With AI, we can create, maybe it's a digital avatar that speaks Swahili. Like, these are business problems that can be solved with AI or automation or technology, but the in is AI, because that's what everyone wants to talk about. So if everyone wants to talk about it, let's talk about it. Let's sell them something that fixes a business problem.
Yeah, and you as an MSP are uniquely suited for this because you've been working for the past 10, 20, 30 years in an industry where there's constantly new tools coming out. There's constantly efficiency happening. So you may not know AI because you don't use it regularly, but you still have the answers. So
Yes.
you would walk in, and I tell people this all the time, it's the conversation that drives cash flow. And if you have a natural conversation over a beer, over a coffee, a tea, a piece of cheesecake, find a box of donuts and set it down in front of your clients and just start talking to them. And AI is going to come up. And they're
Yes.
going to wonder, like, what are people using AI for? And if you had done what Jennifer just told you to do and go out to Google and look at the top 10, 15 use cases, you can rattle them around the top of your head because you've been doing this for 20 years. There's always some new tool. Just AI happens to be the most powerful thing I have seen that is not a gimmick or a fad that is affecting the world today. In
Well,
10 years from now, we are not going to recognize our own landscape because AI is going to enable small businesses to act like large corporations because
and
it's
let
an
me
augmenter.
Yes. And let me answer a question that I know somebody in your audience is thinking, well, but if all I'm doing is recommending them a tool, whatever the tool is, and I can't sell it and I can't mark it up and I can't white label it, then what's in it for me, the MSP, to recommend, oh yeah, go buy Fathom. Fathom can record your notes, your Zoom calls and send you notes afterwards. It's that first recommendation, which might be a tool, it might be an easy AI project. That one is not necessarily about revenue. It is about positioning you in the mind of the buyer as the AI expert.
So
That's all it
I'm gonna
is.
yes and that.
Okay.
Fathom just opened their API. And because Fathom opened up their API, you as an MSP know an open API means Zapier. Now,
Yes.
Zapier's cool and all, but have you tried vibe coding? Now, what if you could host the app that's translating their calls from all of their employees into a database that they can read that looks for sales opportunities?
Yes.
You could build that in 30 minutes. You can host it and charge them monthly for maintenance on it.
Okay. So you just
That
said
is
the
how you
wonderful.
translate that stuff. But you, as a technical person, have to connect the dots. You have
Yes.
to be familiar with the tools that are out there. So I'm guessing Zapier is going to have one heck of a powerful tool come out here within the next 6 months.
Yes. They're going
I
to
can
have
almost
to.
guarantee. I'm not going to build it. I just know it's
Right.
coming. I'll wait for
Yes.
them.
Yes, and they're going to have to because otherwise N8N or Make or whatever
Yep.
is going to replace N8N or Make in 6 months. So you said these magic words, vibe code, and I am not a betting woman, but I would bet a lot of people in your audience haven't played with vibe coding, may not
Yeah.
even know what vibe coding is. So can I give a real example from a client that I just talked to
Yeah.
yesterday?
Go ahead.
Okay, so he's in the vendor space. He's a private client of mine, and he needed a tool that could do a lot of different things, and none of the off the shelf platforms quite fit the bill. Very, very normal. Off the shelf platforms are often, they meet all of the must haves, some of the like to haves, and none of the wish list items. Whatever, it's not, none of the tools are perfect. There's never a perfect tool. So he spent 3 hours. He had a bus ride with the family and whatever. Everyone had their headphones on and, they were all on their phones. And so he's like, I'm going to vibe code an app for my company. And vibe coding is literally you type or you
Prompt-based coding,
voice.
man. No code necessary.
And you just tell it, I want to create a tool that. And so what he did is he created a tool that combined like a super chat bot that understood his content pillars. So if you're familiar with custom GPTs or gems, it was kind of like that. So like think of a super smart bot. And he could then create a drop-down box that said, what are we doing? And it would say script or email or social media post. So he would say social media post, select that. Then the next drop-down was like, which pillar are we going to use? He would do that. And then it would say, he'd select that from a drop-down. Then he'd finish all his drop-downs. It would write it. He would put it over in like a little notepad. This was all self-contained in this app that he built. He could copy, paste it over there, edit it. When it was done, he could say, now send it over to the Kanban board and put it in the, please approve or ready to post or whatever the status was. So the Kanban board was also self-contained in the same tool. And then he even vibe coded the ability to publish it, to push it out to LinkedIn and Facebook, I think. The details don't really matter. And it's now completely custom to him. It's got his tone, his voice, his pillars, all of the drop-down boxes, and now he's got a content marketing workflow that he created in 3 hours. And it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So cool.
Like I was talking to my bookkeeper just 2 days ago, and I said, hey, I've been doing a lot with vibe coding lately. Let me know if he's got any interests, right? This is a real world example. Same thing as what you just said. Hey, do you have any interest in any web apps? I'm just trying to learn this stuff. Just let me know if there's any use cases you have. Like if you could have a web app out of a spreadsheet or something you're doing, just let me know. And he goes, actually, and he had this giant spreadsheet he uses for helping people understand their financial flow. I don't understand half of what he talks about. He's way smarter than me, but dang, that spreadsheet was pretty cool. So I fed it into my Replit, and I said, can you create me an app based upon this spreadsheet that ingests data from QuickBooks Online for customers, for bookkeepers to have better conversations with them? And it goes, sure. And it created a mock-up for me within 15 minutes. It looked good. I had to tweak a couple things like, hey, I need to make sure this is secure, that you can log in. Also make sure that there's an ability to upload a manual entry for QuickBooks in case somebody doesn't want to give their integration secrets to a bookkeeper. Okay, and it was done. I had to pan over to the window. I'm 45 minutes in here since I started the project. I've already got a React front end with a sign-in, comprehensive analysis, and all of the UI components for graphing and what's going to happen with the user. That's 45 minutes, most of which I spent working on my leads in HubSpot.
Yes.
Because the AI is doing the work for me. Now, you as an MSP understand architectural concepts. Even better if you have a computer science degree or some kind of history in Python or object-oriented coding from back in the days of yore. The same concepts apply. Now, what about security here? You know what? You've already learned everything you need to know about LLM security back when Web 2.0 came out and we dealt with all the SQL injections. Now, apply that same safety and logic to LLMs today. What's your best friend right now? Out-of-band backups.
Yes.
Because we don't know what's going to happen.
So what you're saying is then you need to identify a business need, whether it's for your own company or a client, and then you create the solution. And that is where the biggest sticking point is, because we MSPs, I used to be an MSP, we would do our sales discovery, but we were really only doing enough discovery to point to our silver, gold, or platinum pre-created solution. Now we're doing discovery, we're uncovering a business challenge, bottleneck, opportunity, impact, whatever you want to call it, and we go to reach into our toolbox and it's empty because we have to create the solution. And whether it's with vibe coding, or I actually have we didn't even talk about this, but I have a marketplace of AI providers that we have vetted, and we can literally, I think we're at 21 different things that our vetted AI builders can create. So everything from a private large language model to a custom GPT to vibe coding to digital twins. I mean, like almost custom software, like literally you can do your discovery, point to a business problem, and then you say, I need to go talk to my engineers. And your engineers can be the builders in my community. It can be builders that you know offline. It can be builders that Adam introduces you to. It can be the engineer who says, I want to learn how to vibe code. Can you pay me for 10 hours this weekend and I'll play? But the toolbox isn't a pre-canned anti-spam solution. So that feels very different. I'm uncovering a need. I am confident. That's kind of step 3. So we did step 1, research. Step 2, have conversations. Step 3 is shifting your mindset, because your toolbox is going to be empty, because a lot of these solutions are going to be custom.
Yep.
That's a different business model. It just is. And that's okay. Change is challenging.
We've been through this before. We've done this before. How many of you started your MSPs doing white box builds for clients, and then all of a sudden Dell and Gateway I'm dating myself. Dell and Gateway took over that market, and then you had to pivot and move into more server and network infrastructure.
Yep.
That's okay. You already understand custom builds.
Yes.
You're like, well, I'm not a dev shop. I'm like, you know what? Hypervisors essentially are a software provider at this point. So let's go ahead and embrace this, people. SDN happened back around 2009. You've had 16 years to be in denial about being a hardware person. Embrace the software. Vibe coding, AI coding, Claude product generation. You need an AI division. Yeah. Honestly, this is the way we are.
Yes.
So even if like you're just AI as a service, like, hey, a client should be able to call you and say, hey, can you have a form built for me that does this, this, and this? Yes, we can. You're one of our preferred partners. You're paying us $5,000 a month for this service. We're essentially 50 employees for you, is what we are.
Yes.
And come up with that model, just like you did in the late 90s, early 90s, when you were custom building PCs. Now you're custom building solutions. And guess what? You're sticky because they're on your vibe code stack. They're on your AI stack. And if they want to switch over to somebody else, they're going to have to convert all of that.
Well, and I'm a perfect example. So I own a small business. We have a small team. We use ActiveCampaign as our CRM for now. That will probably change in the next few years. But they just released an MCP. And if you're not familiar with the term MCP, it is essentially a way that I can type to my database and pull data out. So I don't have to know how to create the form fields and pull the reports. And even if I know how to do that, it is still faster to say how many people are in my database tagged as prospects and they live in Raleigh, because maybe I'm going to be in Raleigh next week and I want to meet some of them for coffee. I can query my database with my MCP if I have the MCP configured. However, before Jennifer installs and uses the MCP, there's probably some security stuff that should be checked. I know enough to know that MCPs are scary. I do not know enough to know how to check MCPs for those scary security gaps. So if I had an MSP that said to me, oh, when you have questions like that, just send it to me. I will scour the documentation with a human or an AI. I don't care, as long as the data I get back is accurate, and we'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's good to use, or let's just wait for a couple more months. That's valuable. And I think that's where there's another shift that the MSPs listening need to understand. They have a lot of intelligence in their head, a lot of intel and experience, and that people like me will pay for. I will pay someone $1,000 to sit down and help me discover AI opportunities, or help give me guidance on a big migration I need to make in January. And so that is valuable to me. But because it's easy to the MSPs, they think it's easy to everyone, and therefore they don't feel right charging for it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is like I know I do not have the problem anymore personally of this is easy for me, so I should charge less.
Yes.
Like I have gotten over that with myself. What it is like, what is the value for my client? So as Jen was saying earlier, is that they solved an $80,000 a year problem with a simple vibe code that probably takes them 3 hours to build. And that knowledge of how you get to APIs, what are JSONs, what is a backend script look like, why choose React over anything else. That general knowledge you have over an environment is the $10,000 hammer. It's the knowing where to hit and how to hit. Your client doesn't care, other than the fact that you're saving them money and allowing them to do something else. Because guess what, people? With every revolution we have, we lower the barrier to entry so people can come into markets. And so what we have now is we had a web days where anybody could come into the market, and you forget how hard it was to market and advertise before the web was out there. It was difficult. You were measuring pennies per envelope and nickels, and okay, this is a 10 cent, and after it was done, you had to do an ROI on it, and then what were the polygons for the deliveries for the stuff. It was insane. But then the web came out, and everybody started just going to the internet to ask for, where should I buy my car? What should I do about daycare? Which school should I go to? Now we have lowered the barrier to entry even more by having AI. You can now have a staff of 3 people that acts like a staff of 30.
Yes.
But you, the technology provider, have to help these small businesses and medium-sized businesses understand impact, understand risk, things that you already are really good at.
Yes.
You can help them think through. There probably is an AI platform built specifically for their industry. They still need your knowledge to implement it. They need your guidance so that they don't end up being one of those people around the 2000 that went out of business because they didn't check their SQL inputs.
Yes.
Didn't have good backups. You know how to help them here.
And you said we're lowering the barrier to entry. Here, that's a good opportunity for MSPs, but it's also a threat because since it is so easy for a non-security person, a non-educated about data privacy and data sovereignty to jump into the AI world, there are people doing that. There are, I call them young whippersnappers. It doesn't matter how old they are. They are becoming AI consultants. And they're not talking about data privacy. They're not talking about security. They don't care if the data is protected on the front end or the back end. They don't
care about the cash coming in.
Yes, they just care about the cash. I went to an AI event in Tysons Corner, Virginia, right outside of DC, a couple of months back. Not in our industry. Okay, our industry events are very different. And do you know how many times AI and security was mentioned? Guess.
I'm guessing 0 or 1 because I only know about 6 actual attack surfaces.
Yeah, it was 1. And the guy was like, I know you're going to tell me I shouldn't put all of my company data into the free version of ChatGPT, but no one can query ChatGPT and say, tell me what Bob's marketing plan is. Guys, it just doesn't work like that. Don't worry about it. Put your data into ChatGPT free. And I'm like in the audience having like hyperventilating, and that was the only mention of security. And there were 300 AI builders in that room. And it was staggering. It just was staggering to me.
It is.
So, yeah.
And it's the arrogance. And I was just informing some larger players in our industry this last week, said, I can create an AI app and it's fine because I am a independent software developer. But if some of these bigger players immediately throw in an AI chatbot and say, look at all the data you can get. The same people made the same stupid mistake with SQL and started putting out web apps. It's Web 2.0. Anybody remember Web 2.0? When we started putting applications that had SQL backends on the internet, and now you could look up cars on websites. You could look up financials on websites. You could do all this really cool stuff that you used to have to call somebody and deal with. However, they weren't cleaning their inputs. There was an attack surface we did not know about. And the hackers are ahead of us, always. We are never ahead of the hackers. We are always behind them. And we're entering a new era of bot versus bot warfare that we do not know how to deal with right now. We will. I have full confidence that the security industry will figure this out. And we are trying to do things like cleaning inputs. LLM jacking, look it up right now. It's a very real thing. But the thing is, the security industry is right behind it. I mean, it's very fast. And so we're solving problems So you got to decide, is the reward, the data and the simplicity you're getting, worth the risk? Is it worth $80,000 a year savings to put your information in this system? Then you need to talk to a professional about and say, hey, look, what's the attack surface look like that for right now? Like, oh,
Yes.
here's ways we can protect you. I can give you out-of-band backups. So if somebody does LLM jack and start messing with your data, we can roll back and you can get 24 hours of loss. Is that okay with you? And they're like, okay, 24 hours of loss we can sustain. However, and then they can do the risk analysis in their head. But you've got to help feed them and
Yes.
understand that we don't know what we don't know right now. We are in very blue waters with some very unknown fish. But we also have a history of knowing that people are going to try to get this exploited. And so go to market with this. Be the authority here. You want to be first to market. There is advantage to being second to market, but you want to be first to market here. This is moving fast, and you want to be adaptable with your clients. You want to set yourself up as the expert in your area on this. So we've only got like about a minute left here, so Jen. So tell me, how can somebody set themselves up as the AI expert in their area?
Oh, you could not have set it up any better for me. Okay, if you go out to mspsalesrevolution.com/AI offers, we have a brand new resource. It is me talking to you for 15 minutes about 10 specific offers that MSPs can sell. I give you suggested pricing, light messaging help. There's some bonuses that you get on the back end that it's a surprise. I'm not going to spoil it, but literally just go download it. Watch the 15-minute video. It will give you 10 offers. At least one of them, you're going to be like, that's ridiculously easy. That's amazing. That one offer will be your toe in the water. That will be your starting point. So mspsalesrevolution.com/AI offers, and that's where you start.
Awesome. And just to prove how fast I think this industry is working, I'm going to take this podcast, I'm going to preempt all my other podcasts.
I love it.
I'm going to roll this out in 4 days, Jen.
Okay.
Because I think if we wait for my normal window, 4 weeks ahead, this is going to be old information.
Yes.
That's how fast it's going. So I'm recording this on November 6th. I will post this on November 10th. And I feel like I'm behind the gun. That's how fast this is moving, people. I've got a queue of podcasts I can post. But I want you to know this stuff now. I want this to start socializing and getting out there, because speed is of the essence here. Urgency. I know you hear this all the time from vendors that you need to do this now because it's a sales tactic. In this case, I guarantee it's the case. Go out and Google that chat I told, or that graph I told you about before. Adoption of AI versus adoption of internet. You will see that you are behind. You are scarily behind.
Yeah.
So let's get going, people. Again, reach out to Jen. This is your area. This is where you get to be on cutting edge. If you're sitting on a small MSP and you're really agile, looking for that next thing to sell to double your revenue next year, triple your revenue next year, this is it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you for coming on, Jennifer. I hope that we have another podcast here. We're going to roll this out and try to see if we can get people convinced.
Let's make it happen. I love it. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, Jennifer.
You too.
Bye.